பார்க்க சொல்ல இந்த ட்ராக்கிங் சென்டர் இருக்குல்ல,
அந்த ரிமோட் சென்சிங்
ட்ராக்கிங் சென்டர் எது எதெல்லாம் நியூஸ்ல இருந்துச்சோ அதெல்லாம். Antariksh Corporation was in news. Advertisement. அப்புறம் வந்து இஸ்ட்ராக் ஒரு முறை கேட்டிருக்கான் பாரு, இஸ்ட்ராக் எங்க இருக்கு அப்படின்னு கேட்டிருக்கான். ஐசோரோ ட்ராக்கிங் சென்டர் எங்க இருக்கு? ஹூப்ளி. அப்புறமா ஹைதராபாத்ல இருக்கு ரிமோட் சென்சிங்ல.
இந்த நார்த் ஹிமாலயஸ்
mainly what was in news. Okay, let us discuss that. Now I will take the centers and give you. எதாவது நியூஸ் நினைச்சு அது பார்த்தா போதும். Not you don't have to bend backwards to see everything. அது அவ்வளோலாம் தேவையில்லை. Mainly what I told was the satellites. மூணு satellite details. What for? The satellites இருக்கும்போது again you make note of it. When you take about satellites, number one, satellite name. 2, launch vehicle. 3, purpose of the satellite. What type of satellite is? Weather satellite, remote sensing, communication satellite. அப்புறமா purpose இருக்கும். For example, இப்போ UAS 4 இருக்குல்ல, what for UAS 4? Earth observation satellite 4 நான் எதுக்கு அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன்?
Under all conditions.
Purpose என்ன?
Agriculture, forestry.
That's it. That's the purpose. It could be a remote sensing satellite. See, it could be a remote sensing satellite, but its purpose will be defined. உதாரணமா we may send a geostationary satellite for communications, but add-on we might have the satellite will also be serving the purposes of education. Sometimes those things may also be. So what is the satellite name, what type of satellite is it, what for it is being sent, and which launch vehicle it had, orbit. இந்த 5 குள்ள தான் क्वेश्चंस இருக்கும்.
லான்ச் ஸ்டேஷன் and
ரொம்ப லிமிட்டட் தான். நம்ம பெரும்பாலும் satellites are launched from Sriharikota தான். We don't launch from anywhere. அதான் சொன்னேன், இப்போ Sriharikota, இஸ்ட்ராக், அப்புறமா இது ட்ரிவாண்ட்ரம் ப்ரொபல்ஷன் சென்டர் இருக்குல்ல, அந்த மாதிரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஏரியாஸ் மாத்திரம் ஜஸ்ட் பார்த்து வச்சுக்கோங்க. இப்போ UAS 4 எடுத்துட்டேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. UAS 4 it's a radar imaging satellite designed to prove high quality images under all weather conditions for applications as agriculture, forestry, plantation, soil moisture and hydrology and flood mapping. See, by and large, this will also be Earth observation satellites. By and large, there will be remote sensing satellites. Set the purpose அப்படிங்கிறது பார்த்துக்கோங்க. That will be enough. ரைட்டா? அதுக்கப்புறமா அந்த சேட்டலைட் லான்ச் பண்ணும்போது கூடவே இந்த பிக்கி பேக் சேட்டலைட்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் குட்டி குட்டியா அனுப்பிச்சிருப்பாங்க. That also you have to. இப்போ UAS 4 கூட ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சேட்டலைட் இன்ஸ்பயர் சாட் 1 from Indian Institute of Space Technology, IAS இருக்குல்ல, அப்புறம் INS 2TD அப்படின்னு சேட்டலைட் போயிருக்கு. இந்தியா பூட்டான் ஜாயிண்ட் சேட்டலைட். That's it. இப்போ அதான் இப்போ UAS 4ல வந்து பூட்டான் சேட்டலைட் கொலாபரேஷன் இருந்துச்சா இல்லையான்னு கேள்வி கேட்கலாம்ல. Those type of questions till date they have not asked. Until now they have asked only questions related to the satellites and launch vehicles. So next stage of asking question will be this. These 5 or 6 areas தான் questions வரதுக்கான scope. If they can ask questions like this, or they will not ask questions. All the முடிஞ்சிதுல. There are nothing more, nothing less. They cannot ask anything beyond this.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to tell you is, when you read current affairs or anything, you should have the questions at his mind. What kind of questions can be asked? And if you know those details, you will be clear. Either it will be asked here, or it will not be asked. Other scope illa like prelims scope illa. That is it. I mean, tribal uprisings பாத்துட்டீங்களா? What are the tribal uprisings?
So bill uprising.
Bill uprising. Coal uprising.
Ramaraja uprising.
Ramaraya.
அதுக்கப்புறம் சாந்தால் uprising. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து பிசாமுண்டா uprising.
அஞ்சு. For all the tribes involved.
Bill uprising, civil uprising.
It will be a combination. அது புந்தேல்கண்ட் நடக்கும். புந்தேல்கண்ட் எங்க இருக்கு? புந்தேல்கண்ட் ரீஜன் எங்க இருக்கு? மத்திய பிரதேஷ் பக்கத்துல பாரு. மகாராஷ்டிரா மத்திய பிரதேஷ் அந்த ஏரியால இருக்கு. கிலோ வரும்போது புந்தேல்கண்ட்
அது உத்தரப்பிரதேஷ் மகாராஷ்டிரா.
காந்தேஷ். காந்தேஷ். It will be a civilian uprising. Satara province நடக்கும். Satara province. அப்புறம் கோல் uprisings-ல
Mundas.
For all the tribes involved in coal.
Mundas. Coal tribes, அப்புறம் வந்து post HOS. அப்புறம் வந்து Orans, ORAOS.
சரி. Where all these tribes located, found today?
Central India. Central West. And the region.
Okay.
Mostly in Maharashtra.
சரி. At present, in which states they are? And the region எல்லாம் இப்ப எந்த ஸ்டேட்ல இருக்கு? See, think this way. The tribes and the present day states. Match the following. கேட்கலாமா? They can ask you to match, or they can ask you which is correctly matched and wrongly matched, incorrectly matched. கேட்கலாமா? Identify that. List 1 will be tribes. List 2 will be the state in which they are present. For coals, Gujarat. Gons, Chhattisgarh. Beta bill, Maharashtra. So that is why I'm telling you, region is very important. அது இல்லாம after the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas நடக்குதுல, அதுல வந்து there are about 10 different museums are proposed to be set up commemorating the honoring the tribal movements. So those 10 tribes வந்து அந்த நியூஸ்ல இருக்கு. I've given you the list. I have not forgotten to share the PPT yesterday. Today I will do it. And the 10 museums இருக்கு, and there is a map also. The government of India has released a map where all the museums are to be set up. No map release பண்றாங்க. Did I share you in the telegram yesterday? Today I'll share the PPT to you, then you will understand. Those 10 areas la, and the 10 areas இருக்கக்கூடிய 10 tribal population. Check telegram. I sent the map. மலபார் பிரைசிங் இருக்குல்ல, பாப்புலர் பிரைசிங். பாப்புலர் பிரைசிங் நம்ம ஹிஸ்டரியில படிக்கும்போது we call it as civilian uprising. பட் கவர்மெண்ட் இங்க வந்து கோழிக்கோட்ல மலபாருக்கு வந்து ட்ரைபல் பிரைசிங் போடுறாங்க. பாப்புலர் ட்ரைப்ஸ்னு சொல்றாங்க அவங்க. சம்டைம்ஸ் அப்படி இருக்கும். கேட்டா அது மாதிரி டமெங்லாங் இருக்குல்ல, டமெங்லாங் நீங்க பார்ப்போம். டமெங்லாங் வந்து இட் இஸ் ஆல்ரெடி நியூஸ். ராணி கெடின் லீவ். ராணி கெடின் லீவ்ஸ் நியூஸ். டமெங்லாங் வந்து ராணி கெடின் லீவுடைய ஊர். She belongs to Tamenglang. It's a Jadonang movement. We'll see it today. That is one aspect. Another one is tribal uprisings. Yet another aspect in apart from these tribes, these 10 tribes, there are other movements. If who is Takkar Baba? Who is Thakkar Baba?
Tribal uplift కోసం గుజరాత్ రీజన్.
குஜராத்லயா ஆந்திராலயான்னு பாரு. குஜராத் as well as ஆந்திரா. Thakkar Baba குஜராத் பாவ்நகர்ல இருந்து வந்திருப்பாரு. See, he was born in Bhavnagar. அவர் என்ன ஆரம்பிச்சாரு பாரு. What did Thakkar Baba start? When was it founded? 1920? 22-23. Centenary celebration அதுக்கு போயிட்டு இருக்கு தெரியுமா? அது ஃபர்ஸ்ட் யூனியன் ஃபார் ஆதிவாசிஸ் Thakkar Baba தான் ஆரம்பிப்பார். And education for ஆதிவாசி Thakkar Baba schools ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க. Even in Chennai you have Thakkar Baba schools. ஸ்ரீநகர் போனீங்கன்னா இருக்கும். மெட்ராஸ்ல அப்பா டக்கர்னு சொல்றாங்களாடா. பாப்பா தக்கர் தான் அப்பா டக்கர். இது காமெடியான விஷயம், பட் உண்மைதான். அப்பா டக்கர்ல அப்பா டக்கர் நீ ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இதா பேசினாலும் பெரிய அப்பா டக்கர் மாதிரி பேசுற அப்படின்றாங்கல்ல. இவர்தான் Thakkar Baba ரிவர்ஸ் பண்ணிப்பாரு. Thakkar Baba ஸ்கூல் வந்து அப்பா டக்கர் ஸ்கூல்னு சொல்லி அவர் when somebody speaks high beyond his capacity சென்னை தமிழ்ல வந்து அப்பா டக்கர்னு மாத்திட்டாங்க. அப்பா அதான் பாப்பா இஸ் அப்பா, பாப்பா இஸ் ஃபாதர் ஃபிகர். அப்பா டக்கர் தான் Thakkar Baba. மறக்க பண்ணீங்களா? Thakkar Baba மறக்கூடாது. அப்பா டக்கர்னு அப்பா டக்கர்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா Thakkar Baba. So ஆதிவாசி ஜனசங் ஏதோ ஆரம்பிப்பாரு. He used to start the first ஆதிவாசி union, and where he will also include the Harijan people, scheduled caste. சரி, அதுக்கப்புறமா வந்து இவரு ஆந்திரால வந்து ராமராஜு என்ன பண்ணாரு? So who are the tribes?
ஆதிவாசிஸ்.
இப்ப தெலுங்கானால இருக்கு. Today it is in Telangana. Present. That's why I told you. Present state and the tribes. So Raju Alluri Sitaram Raju. So take care and history relating to tribes and the tribal movements.
அவர் பத்தி Alluri Sitaram அவர் பத்தி அடிக்கடி பிரசிடென்ட் ஆஃப் நான் 2 முன்னாடி பார்த்தேன் நியூஸ் அவர் மென்ஷன் பண்ணிருக்காரு. உதாரணத்துக்கு சங்கீத் நாடக அகாடமி சொல்லி வாட் கொடுத்தாங்க 14. அப்போ ஒரு வைஸ் பிரசிடென்ட் சொன்னாரு, இந்த மாதிரி கலை நிகழ்ச்சிகள் வந்து டிரைவர்ஸோட வாழ்க்கை வந்து சொல்லணும் அவங்களோட கலை மூலியமா. எக்ஸாம்பிள் வந்து இவரோட வாழ்க்கையெல்லாம் வந்து சொன்னதே இல்லை. ராமராஜன் வாழ்க்கையெல்லாம் சொன்னதே இல்லை. நீங்க இன்னும் அதுதான் சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி வைஸ் பிரசிடென்ட் சொல்லி அந்த நிறைய இடத்துல மென்ஷன் ஆகுது.
So things are coming up. So பார்த்து வச்சுக்கோங்க. So about Birsa Munda, about Alluri Sitaram Raju, the tribal leaders, tribes, tribal movements, tribal leaders, the tribes involved, region in history, the present state where the region is found today, and if there was any organizations relating to that, like Thakkar Baba schools Mari. Alluri Sitaram Raju also will begin an organization. Any organization is involved. Adukapprama, if there were any other participation in freedom struggle. These are all the 7 areas where the questions can be asked. Idu taandana kelvi illanga. Adhe mari in the area pidichu vechikena, if you are able to identify these 7 areas, you are done for your mains as well. If any question is asked in the mains, these are all the inputs that you will be requiring to write an answer. Beyond that, for the mains, what you will be requiring is outcomes. Analytical outcomes analysis panna vendirukum. If they succeeded, why they succeeded? If they failed, why they failed? That's all. And yesterday, I remember having told you why the tribal movements failed. I gave you stock points, about 5-6 points. I gave you. If possible, some of you can jot down the points and share it in the group, Telegram group. These 7. இதுக்கு மேல மெயின்ஸ்க்கே கொஸ்டின் கிடையாது. Tribal operations. For sure, you can be done with it. Make a tabular column or Excel sheet for tabular column. Just incorporate them and keep it in one page. You are done. So how much ever you are condensing your preparation to few points or one page kulla evlakulla konnaringlo avlakulla you are closing, you are going closer to success. And the same logic you can apply to Zamindari movement and peasants movement as well. Simple. இவ்வளவுதான் preparation. இதுதான் நீ சுத்தி முருகு விளைஞ்சிட்டு இருக்க. புரியுதா இல்லையா? ஜாங்கிரி மாதிரி ஆக்கி வச்சிருக்க கொலகொலன்னு. Put this, it will be done. Okay. சரி, வேற என்ன சொன்னேன்? Another thing what I told you to do.
Belarus refugee crisis நடக்குது. அதோட மேப், latitude,
have you gone through that? I asked you to see the countries that are bordering Belarus, the littoral states of Baltic Sea, littoral states of Adriatic Sea, littoral states of Caspian Sea and Black Sea. Abro east-west arrangement of those states, then the cities, particularly the capitals. Particularly the capitals in those states. சரியா? Next Saturday we will take a test and then we'll discuss those papers. Coming Saturday, I'll give you a test. Testing வந்து I don't bother whether you score, you don't score. That's a different issue. There are several other things and other aspects relating to the news items, whatever we have seen. Regarding that, we will discuss. I'll give you a question. Already I've been posting questions way to IAS. Viewgamla daily 5 questions for all. I'll compile those questions and give you. And then we will go get further deep and we will go a little deeper analyzing them. All right. Sure. So have you gone through them? Which are the states, bordering states? அதெல்லாம் போயிட்டீங்களா? பார்த்துச்சிட்டீங்களா? That is very important. Don't miss them. See, அங்க வந்து கேள்வி கேட்டா இவ்வளவுதான் கேட்க முடியும். Which are the states bordering, sharing border? 1. 2. Which are the littoral states of Baltic Sea, Adriatic Sea, Caspian Sea, Black Sea? 3. Important ports in Black Sea, important ports in Baltic and Caspian Sea. If there was any isthmus connecting two seas, or if there was any strait, isthmus connecting two two seas, or if there was any straits that is connecting two land masses, that can be. Angur isthmus. Take the map. Black Sea. என்ன ஸ்டேட்? சரி, வேற ஒரு இஸ்துமஸ் இருக்கு பாருங்க அந்த ஏரியால. See, take the map. Atlas எடுத்து வச்சுக்கிட்டு you should see that. Straight இருக்கு, isthmus இருக்கு. So you doesn't matter. Straight and isthmus paathuko. You don't have to search it as of now. I may be also wrong. But you have to know the isthmus wherever it is. Two important isthmus in Russian region, but the isthmus of Kra and isthmus of Perikop. That is near Finland. If you have the map, you can see Finland. What are the major straits and what are the major isthmus? So these aspects you have to go through. At the max, prelims la ivladhaan kekka mudiyum. A very important cities of Ukraine paathukom. Major cities that fell for Russia. I don't think we will be reading much of history about Ukraine history படிக்க மாட்டோம். நம்ம generally Ukraine history படிக்க மாட்டோம். But otherwise, Caucasus region la irundhu paathukom. இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப ஆஃப் பீட் ஏரியாஸ். Even if you don't get also ரொம்ப ஆஃப் பீட். If they you have to take a risk of leaving. You can take the risk of leaving them also. ரொம்ப கண்டிப்பா படிச்சா ஆகும்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன். Not required. But for extended ஏரியாவை பார்த்து வச்சுக்கலாம். But cities of Ukraine paathukom. Major cities of Ukraine, major industrial centers in Ukraine, economic centers in Ukraine. Chernobyl enga irukku? Russia le Ukraine le?
Ukraine. Not Eastern region.
Chernobyl was having one of the worst nuclear reactor accident. Now, Chernobyl was very much in news because what will happen if Russia bombarded Chernobyl? And Russia was also very particular about capturing Chernobyl. So those aspects. See, I hope you understand how to move on. To that extent, you should be looking into the current affairs. That's all. All right. Simple. Check. So, இதெல்லாம் பார்த்து வச்சுக்கோங்க. Then, what else did I tell you yesterday?
Monumental national flag.
I asked you to see the flag code dimensions, and history of tricolor. Who designed? Where was it first hoisted? How did it was approved? Who approved it? And where it was first hoisted? Who are all involved? There were 2-3 designs of the history freedom struggle. You must have studied 2-3 people who designed the flag for India. The tricolor design called as Tiranga. That was approved by Gandhi and was first hoisted in. கல்கட்டால ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஞ்சம் செக் பண்ணி பாரு. அது there be different viewpoints. NCERT book என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னு பாத்துக்கோ.
August 7, 1906. Back in square, Calcutta.
கரெக்ட் தான் போ. டிவைடட் ஐ இருந்தானே அதான் கரெக்டா போ. சரி, அதுக்கு முன்னாடி எனிதிங் ஹிஸ்டரி ஆஃப் நேஷனல் ஃபிளாக் இருக்கா அதுல? Who designed the flag? பாத்துக்கோங்க, புக்ல இருக்கும். That could be asked in question as well. Once they have asked this. அது there were few people involved. அது மேடம் பிகாஜி காமா இருக்காங்கல்ல, she would have designed a flag. அப்புறமா even Annie Besant suggested a design of the flag. Annie Besant suggested a flag design. அப்புறமா வந்து இந்த flag இருக்குல்ல, கல்கட்டால ரைஸ் ஹாய்ஸ்ட் பண்ண flagல வந்து இது இருக்கும், சக்கரா இருக்காது. இன்ஸ்டெட் லோட்டஸ் வந்தே மாதரம் போட்டிருப்பாங்க. வந்தே மாதரம் போட்டிருப்பாங்க. ஏன்னா வந்தே மாதரம் அந்த டைம் பீரியட்ல வந்த ஒரு விஷயம் தானே. 1905 பார்ட்டிஷன் ஆஃப் பெங்கால் வரும்போது தான் வந்தே மாதரம் வரும். ஆனந்த் மத் பிகம்ஸ் பாப்புலர் அண்ட் வந்தே மாதரம் தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் யூஸ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க ஃப்ரீடம் ஸ்ட்ரகிள்ல. So the history of the national flag பாத்துக்கோங்க. So again flag related question வந்தா number 1 they can ask you the history of the national flag. Who are all involved in designing of the flag, and finally how it was arrived at this flag. அப்புறம் வந்து flag வந்து when was it adopted by the Constituent Assembly? 1947 அப்புறம் when was it adopted? The new flag, the present flag வச்சிருக்கோம்ல, when was the national flag? நீ again constitution making of the constitution bookல போனேன்னா அது இருக்கும். When was constitution adopted? 26 November 1949. அதுக்கப்புறமா subsequently they would have adopted the national song, national anthem, national flag மூணு பண்ணிருப்பாங்க.
1947
அதான் சொல்றேன், நீ எப்போனா எடுத்துட்டு போட்டோம். I am least bothered about the dates. I don't want the date now. What I am telling is you should know all these things. நீ முதல்ல நான் சொல்றது தெளிவா கவனி. Regarding flag, what are the possible areas of question? I'm telling you. These are possible areas of question. So history, who are all involved in designing of the flag, and when was it first hoisted, and important events when the flag was hoisted. What are the important events when the flag was hoisted? அடுத்தது when was the flag adopted by the Constituent Assembly? அப்புறம் present day flag உடைய ratio of its dimensions. And flag code. ரொம்ப பெருசான தேவையில்லை. What is the punishment? Major மட்டும் பார்த்தா போதும். gov.in இருக்குல்ல, noindia.gov.in அதுல பார்த்தா இருக்கும். இல்ல flag code பத்தி NCERT bookல இருக்கும், போதும் அதுக்கும். Why I am talking about flag code na, someone was punished for violating the flag code. மறந்து போச்சு யாருன்னு. 2022. I'll let you know who is it. அப்ப வந்து flag code வந்து வந்துச்சு. July 22, 1947, the Indian Constituent Assembly adopted the flag. July 22, 1947. Yeah. நிறைய பேர் 2-3 பேர் இருக்காங்க important people who were involved in flag designing. அது மட்டும் பார்த்துக்கோங்க. All right. Fine. சரி, next thing what did I say? இதை பார்த்துக்கோங்கன்னு சொன்னா நீ பார்க்கணும். I am not giving those things to you because you would have already studied as part of various other subjects. நான் போய் கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ் நடத்த மாட்டேன். நடத்திட்டு டைம் I can only remind you to go and revise. All right. Sorry, next today we'll see UNESCO Creative City Network. See, UNESCO என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா Creative City Networkல UNESCO since 2004 UNESCO is having a network of identifying the network of creative cities. எதுக்காக to promote cooperation with and among the cities that have identified creativity as a strategic factor for their sustainable urban development. There will be certain creative skills or creative ideas which will be native to that particular city. So using them, in a way, it is a traditional aspect. The traditional aspect, the traditionally and the city important are. And using those skills and talents to promote sustainable development in that urban center, in that city. That's the logic. But there is a dimension of sustainable development. So currently there are about 246 cities and every year they add cities. The creative fields they have 7 fields they have identified. One on the creative arts and creative crafts and folk arts, then media arts, films, design, gastronomy, literature as well as music. In the 7 areas, if any city was having creativity or innovation or traditional skills and talents, then those areas will be identified and accordingly the creative cities network will be created. India latest இந்த வருஷம் ஏன் அது நியூஸ்ல வருதுன்னா Srinagar was added as UNESCO's creative city. And already there are 3 cities included in creative city network. One on the Jaipur for crafts and folk arts and Varanasi. Both were added in 2015. And Chennai has been added as a creative city in 2017 for music. Varanasi, Jaipur, crafts and folk arts. So இது வந்து பார்த்து வச்சுக்கோங்க வாட் இட் இஸ் அப்படின்றது மட்டும் தெரிஞ்சா போதும். நதிங் பிக், நதிங், வேற எதுவும் இல்லை. இது கேட்டா இவ்வளவுதான் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் இல்லை, வேற எதுவும் கிடையாது. அட் த மேக்ஸ் if at all they can diversify in Juna, they can go to ask a question about UNESCO. What is UNESCO? UNESCO it also comes out with something called as heritage cities. இப்போ வந்து இந்த Hoysala temples இருக்குல்ல, Hoysala temples are in news. Hoysala தெரியுமா தெரியுதா? Again history. Again history. What who are Hoysalas நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்ல தேவையில்லை. Again it is history. ரைட்டா? அதுவும் UNESCO தான் பண்ணுது, heritage city list. So at the max, they can ask you about what is UNESCO. UNESCO pathana informations they may ask you. So what is UNESCO? And what is it aimed at? The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Right? And it's a part of UN. The United Nations is UNESCO. So what is the idea? See, supposing if it is not asked in the prelims, international organizations mains la kekla mark panni vechuko mains la UNESCO பத்தி பாத்து mains அப்ப பார்க்கலாம். Mains அப்ப பார்க்கலாம். See, basically, let me give you an idea. But today, after the Ukraine crisis and the present world order, there is more likely a question relating to whether United Nations is relevant or not. This can be asked in essay also. Put across in simple terms. Stand UN is very much relevant. Because when we talk about UN, we are obsessed with UN as a political body. We are not taking into account the family of organizations that United Nations encompasses, like the Unesco, UNDP, UNEP. So UN just like that, we cannot declare that it is irrelevant, or just like that we cannot dismantle United Nations. Right? And even today, we go to United Nations for its just. So when it comes to United Nations, it is not just UN. Dismantle பண்ணிட முடியாது. It is widely spread and deeply rooted. Even today, even in the latest Ukraine crisis, we go to UN Security Council. UN Security Council the forum. See, UN is now acting as a common forum. See, it may be silent. How we use it in the matter. On the kaila watch pesadu. That's important. It will give you. It will serve you a very important. It will play a very important role, and it will give you a very, very important service called making you know the time. It is up to us to use how. It is up to us to decide how to use UN. So we are failing UN, and UN as an organization is not failing. In the we will revisit when doing mains discuss பண்ணும்போது we will revisit and discuss that. But no organization can be said to be irrelevant or it has become defunct in Solemn Day. If UN is irrelevant, then why do you go to UN Security Council? On the contrary, the multilateral organizations or multilateral arrangements which were initiated by individual countries or group of countries are now losing their relevance. For example, NATO. NATO சும்மா ஒரு America is using NATO, or it is having NATO only to satisfy its political ego. NATO ஒரு political ego வச்சிட்டு உட்கார்ந்திருக்காங்க. But otherwise NATO என்ன relevance இருக்கு? There's no relevance for NATO. But UN, because United Nations is something that is, even today, even in Ukraine crisis, we are looking up to the UN Security Council. And importantly, the difference between P5s. When it is brought before the United Nations Security Council, other non-permanent members who are all playing very important role. If a UN Security Council, who are all the other members? 10 other non-permanent members. India is one of the members. Who are all the other members? செக் பண்ணு. Albania, Brazil, Gabon, Ghana, India, Ireland, Kenya, Mexico, Norway, and UAE at present. Now, Ghana and Gabon or Albania otherwise are considered to be insignificant powers. Now, they have a role to play in determining whether what America and Russia does, America or Russia does is correct or not. Has UN imposed any sanction on Russia? No. Why? Many non-permanent countries were not ready to, and Russia veto it. Russia will veto it, and China is also there. Relevant. So never take the stand. Just because public administration a structure that is absent need not be, a structure that is invisible need not be absent. So in context, we are not giving, United Nations will come into prominence only if the member nations give its due importance. The member nations are overlooking UN, therefore UN appears to be defunct and useless. But otherwise, very much relevant. Understand that? We will discuss it while doing mains as well. So here, coming to the point, UNESCO mark for mains as well. And if at all there was any other question asked, is UNESCO but the basic information about UNESCO. You can go to the UNESCO network, UNESCO site and get the information about us. UNESCO but the easier information. That much is enough. It is part of United Nations, and why is it? What is it doing actually? Where is its headquarters? That is all. And I don't think that also they will really ask. For all, for a fill-up question, that could be a fill-up question at the max. If there is nothing else to ask, okay, UNESCO with your we get up. Otherwise, this is a very minor issue. Next, the creative cities I've already told you, right? Next. And also, I asked you to look into the map and history of Afghanistan. Will you do that? Afghanistan, Pakistan, history also I wanted you to look into. Taxila University, Peshawar, which were the dynasties that were ruling from Peshawar, and important kings, outward invasions. Kabul. So next, All India Presiding Officers Conference. The All India Presiding Officers Conference, All India Presiding Officers Conference of Presiding Officers of the Legislative Assemblies of the States at Lok Sabha. The All India Presiding Officers Conference. The speakers of all the legislative assemblies and speaker of Lok Sabha, and then the chairpersons of all the legislative councils of various states which have legislative councils, as well as Rajya Sabha. They met in Himachal Pradesh. This year, it is its 100th year. AIPOC was held in Himachal Pradesh. Shimla வந்து நடந்தது. It was conducted in Shimla and the 7th time in Shimla. The most important என்னன்னா, in the 1925 conference, it is in this All India Presiding Officers Conference, granting voting rights to women was first passed. The resolution to support granting of voting right to women were first passed in the All India Presiding Officers Conference of 1925. இதுல in the present year's conference இருக்குல்ல, present year's conferenceல there were two important things. One was successfully passed and the other one did not get passed. What was passed வந்து to regulate the conduct of the members with respect to disrupting during the question hour, president and governor's address in the houses. What failed was limiting the powers of the speaker under the anti-defection law. That failed. Resolution பார்த்துக்கோங்க. அப்ப இதுல எக்ஸ்ட்ராபோலேஷன் எங்க போகும்னா powers of the speaker. The powers of the speaker. Now, compare the speaker of Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly. Take a table column. The constitution, you must have studied about speaker and chairman. Right? So create a table. Left side speaker of Lok Sabha, right side speaker of legislative assembly. Write all the powers. Left and right. Find out if there was any difference. That is a potential question. So, powers of the speaker என்ன? You can create it right now. The table. Powers of the speaker என்ன? What are the powers of the speaker? First, he is a presiding officer. How is he elected? From among the members. That is similar to both legislative assembly and Lok Sabha. அடுத்தது
voting.
Casting vote. Be very clear. I don't want you to tell me, rather put it this way. I want you to use an appropriate term. Casting vote na casting vote nu சொல்லணும். You should never say deciding vote அப்படிலாம் சொல்லக்கூடாது. Because it is constitution, don't take it lightly. நீங்க ஆப்போசிட் இருக்க மாதிரி you might have remembered it like that. But when it comes to exam, you should be very clear. If you miss one word also, you may go wrong.
Same.
Casting vote, both sides are equal. Many powers of the speaker with respect to proroguing, adjournment of the house, adjournment sine die, as well as calling for the sitting. Then maintenance of the quorum. Disciplinary action, both are same powers. Any other power? Deciding money bill, yes. Speaker's authority is final. Then he can suspend or expel any member from the sitting or for the whole session. And he is the authority who decides all the questions relating to rules. Questions are decided பண்ண மாட்டார். Supposing, what do you call this? Supposing there was a false in the rule that was to be followed in a particular sitting. Say for instance, rule number 80 is followed during a particular discussion. But one of the members feel that rule is irrelevant, that rule is not appropriate, and it should be rule 130. So what do you call this? Point of order. It's called as point of order. He is the final authority to decide upon the questions relating to points of order. Which are all the committees he is ex officio chairperson? Rules committee, business advisory committee. In any other committee, when he is member, he will be the chairperson. டிஃபரன்ஸ் கிடையாது. ஸ்பீக்கர் டிஃபரன்ஸ் கிடையாது, சேர்பர்சன்ல மாத்திரம் டிஃபரன்ஸ் உண்டு. ஏன்னா because he is ex officio, chairman Rajya Sabha is ex officio vice president. Better? Sure. So make a tabular column, compare for yourself, it will be useful for you, and this is a potential question for prelims as well as mains. Better? And constitutional provisions relating to office of the speaker. How is the speaker elected? Which are all the constitution provisions? Mukkiyama, go to see many a time when it comes to constitution provisions, we will have a tendency to remember only the parliament. It's a very natural tendency. Adhanala comparative chart portion. When you prepare the comparative table, mark the constitution provisions equally. And the constitution provision mark pannikkom. How is the speaker elected? How is the speaker removed? What happens if his office is vacant? Or what happens if he is absent? Different speaker of legislative assembly, speaker of Lok Sabha, major difference, but minor differences. Joint sitting unda. What about joint sitting in legislative assembly? State legislature. There is no joint sitting. Whereas the speaker of Lok Sabha has the power to preside over the joint sitting. Whereas for speaker of legislative assembly, that provision is irrelevant because there is no provision for joint sitting at all. Right? What is his powers with respect to appropriation bill? And when all the pro tem speaker is being appointed? Pro tem speaker எப்போ appoint பண்றாங்க? That was once asked in the mains.
First meeting, speaker, deputy speaker, president,
okay. After that, in a joint sitting of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, in the absence of speaker, who will preside? Suppose deputy speaker is also absent. Deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Suppose he is also not available. That's also pro tem speaker. Committee of chairpersons on the vera. When the speaker is absent, he will, and supposing the speaker and deputy speaker both are not available, then the speaker will nominate one of the members of the committee of chairpersons to act as speaker. That's speaker pannuvar. Suppose if the speaker is removed and deputy speaker is also absent, pro tem speaker will be appointed. This can be asked in your. This is asked in the mains. Mains like it. I'm sharing a screenshot in the Telegram group. என்னோட புக்கோட ஸ்கிரீன்ஷாட் ப்ரோட்டம் ஸ்பீக்கர். Where all protem speaker is appointed. 3 times in the mains I have asked a question. 98, 2002, 2007. What is meant by protem speaker? What is the role of protem speaker? What is protem speaker? This can be a question in your mains also. Sorry, prelims also. Because of the All India Presiding Officers Conference. I hope it's clear to you. Right? So regarding speaker, please go through these aspects. Next. Yesterday, we were discussing about hydrogen as a fuel. Right? We talked about the National Hydrogen Mission. I mean, we didn't talk about National Hydrogen Mission. So we have a mission called National Hydrogen Mission, which is not. Actually, we are trying to bring about hydrogen as a fuel. Yet another news has come regarding the GAIL. The GAIL, India's first project of mixing hydrogen with natural gas to be supplied for the household purpose. That's Indore first time. The GAIL and HPCL already have a joint venture company called Avantika Gas Limited, which is a joint venture of GAIL as well as GAIL and HPCL, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. And this Avantika Gas Limited is the one which supplies gas to households in Indore city of Madhya Pradesh. And in the natural gas, they are mixing now hydrogen in order to make it more cleaner fuel. Right? And this project is under the National Hydrogen Mission to achieve carbon neutral and self-reliant future. So as of now, there are 2 types of hydrogen, they say. One is gray hydrogen, the other is green hydrogen. Gray hydrogen, sometimes it's also called green hydrogen, sometimes also called blue hydrogen. Gray hydrogen and green hydrogen. Gray hydrogen is one that is derived from fossil fuels. And industries as of now, the sectors as of now that uses gray hydrogen is ammonia, natural gas, naphtha production industries. And green hydrogen will be, green hydrogen is hydrogen that is produced by splitting water by electrolysis. Green hydrogen. So we have a green hydrogen policy that is elaborately dealt with in the budget 22-23. And we have certain schemes also. Schemes also we have brought in with respect to green hydrogen. That I am going to share with you today along with the PPT of today's class. Green hydrogen policy, there are 2 slides where I have discussed about where I have given the information relating to the program that is given under budget 22-23. Read that, we will discuss it in detail tomorrow. And hydrogen chemistry, what are the properties of hydrogen? Off beta because it is becoming too obvious. So many places we are discussing about hydrogen. So we'll think that hydrogen policy, H2, fuel. What if the question setter converts this into a chemistry question? So properties of hydrogen, physical properties as well as chemical properties of hydrogen. Chemistry book. And again, those who are not well versed with science or those who have aversion to science, forget. Just manage it, that's all. how much ever you understand, that much is enough. And how much ever you understand, that much is enough. You don't have to bend backwards to remember many things regarding hydrogen properties. The 10th standard NCERT இருக்கு ஒரு chapter இருக்கு hydrogen பத்தி. Want, I'll share the link of the book. I'll share the link of the book, the chapter. Vivek group la poturuken. Don't try to read everything. Don't try to read everything. It is not required. Just position of the hydrogen adula pathina simple ah da irukum. 10th standard book da. It will be very simple. And what are the isotopes of hydrogen? Chemical formula எல்லாம் தேவையில்லை. I don't want you to read all those things. What are isotopes? இது மட்டும் பார்த்தா போதும். அதுல அந்த சாப்டர்ல போனீங்கன்னா 9.4 ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ் ஆஃப் டைஹைட்ரஜன் வருது. அதே மாதிரி ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ் ஆஃப் ஹைட்ரஜன் இருக்கும். அது பார்த்தாலே போதும். Don't bend backwards to read understand all the chemical equations. Just skim through whatever you understand, that is enough. And those who have already studied science, just recall what you know about it, that is enough. That much is enough. So rest of the things regarding the policy we'll discuss tomorrow. Right. Next, INS Kukri. INS Kukri was built by Mazagon Dock Shipbuilding Company in 1989. That has been decommissioned. It has been decommissioned from service and has been given to the DAYO administration. Daman DAYO administration, the administration hand over because it is to be converted into a museum. That much is enough. Either they may ask you what is INS Kukri, or they'll just leave it. Nothing more, nothing less. This is enough. INS Kukri, it's a simple fact. Then comes World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day. That is being celebrated as a newsletter. Sir, what is this neglected tropical disease day, and why is it becoming important? Simple. Again, it is health related. See, the tropical diseases are those diseases which are variety of diseases caused by variety of pathogens like bacteria, virus, protozoa, and parasitic worms. And important tropical diseases are malaria, cholera, yellow fever, dengue. Dengue la news karta? It's again celebrated with WHO. This is organized by WHO. And why this World Neglected Tropical Disease Day is observed? This is observed in order to generate awareness among the people and educate them about the diseases. Because many a time we are ignorant of these diseases, and we don't understand fully the cruelty. Can I use the term cruelty? Yes, I can use the term cruelty. The severity of this disease we don't understand. But dengue severity. But at times these diseases are fatal. And the aftermath of these diseases are also very dangerous. They are capable of generating worst aftermath effects. That is why these diseases must be. People must be educated about these diseases, and awareness must be created to be careful about these diseases. This is being observed. Now, what is that we have to do with this news? Again, go to your biology book. Try to understand which are all the protozoan diseases, which are all the bacterial diseases, which are all the viral diseases, which are all the diseases caused by parasitic worms. They are simple, but this is exactly where we will get confused and we will lose marks. So again, I tell you, go for a table. Protozoan diseases. Other diseases are malaria, yellow fever, dengue, cholera. Most of these diseases are vector borne. Vector borne, they'll be carried. For example, malaria is a protozoan disease. The protozoa is a causative factor which is carried by a vector called mosquito. Female Anopheles mosquito. Dengue is caused by Aedes. It's not caused by Aedes mosquito. Dengue is a disease. But is it a bacterial disease or a protozoan disease or a viral disease? Dengue? Viral disease carried by vector. Aedes mosquito. Aedes mosquito is a vector. It is not a causative factor. புரியுதா இல்லையா? டெங்கு வந்து கொசுவால வரலடா, டெங்கு வைரஸால வருது. பட் டெங்கு வைரஸ் உனக்கு எப்படி வருது? கொசு, the vector is a transmitter. Dengue virus can survive in the mosquito. Before a human body to multiply, it requires a human body or animal body. அந்த சப்ஸ்ட்ரேட்டம்க்கு போய் அது ரெப்ளிகேட் ஆகுற வரைக்கும் it will survive in the mosquito's body. So mosquito is a transmitter. That's what is called as a vector. So where is National Vector-Borne Disease Control Center? So நான் புரியுதா உனக்கு என்ன சொல்றேன்னு? டிசீஸ் எடுத்துக்கோ. What is a causative factor? வைரஸா, பாக்டீரியாவா, புரோட்டோசோவாவா, இல்லட்டா வந்து parasitic worms-ஆ? And if there was a vector, which is the vector? Symptoms of the disease. If there was any vaccination or curative medicine. The malaria vaccine கிடையாது, curative medicine. What is the curative medicine for malaria? If you go back to the previous year UPSC questions, this question has been repeatedly asked. If my memory goes right, at least 7-8 times this has been asked. In the last 40 years, at least 10-15 times கேட்டிருப்பாங்க. Malaria ஓட curative medicine அது. From where is it taken? அப்புறம் popular mosquito repellents உடைய composition. Right up. So this news may be very dormant. You may not know. See, supposing if malaria பத்தி ஒரு கேள்வி வந்திருக்கு, டெங்கு பத்தி ஒரு கேள்வி வந்திருக்குன்னா, you will simply say that it is like something it has been asked from randomly asked from somewhere, or it is a science question. அப்படின்னு போவார். But it will be a current affairs question if you know this news. That's more likelihood. So we are not predicting anything. We are only talking about the likelihood. Right? சரி, இத தெளிவா பார்த்துக்கோ. Which are all the diseases? What are all the diseases caused? What causes the disease? If there was a vector, what is a vector? Yellow fever is caused by what? What is the causative factor for yellow fever? What is yellow fever? நீ புக்ல NCERT புக் போனேன்னு வச்சுக்கேன், டாபிக்கா லைனா கொடுத்துருப்பான். காலா அசார், yellow fever is caused by bite of what?
Sir, yellow fever, dengue, Zika, மூணுமே போய் கொசுல
yellow fever இந்தியால இருக்கா? Again, spread by Aedes mosquito.
and the Zika program. And Aedes question. Yellow fever
Flavivirus. Flavivirus. India la idhuvaraikku illa. It's mostly available, mostly found in Africa, and American travelers தான் first பார்த்தாங்க. But it will have fever, headache, jaundice, muscle pain, nausea, vomiting, and fatigue. All right. So go through them. Know about all these diseases and causative factors. If there was any vector, what is the vector? You must see all these things. Clear? Right. Sorry, next. In the budget, there were few new schemes announced. PM Divine. The PM Divine no scheme. Prime Minister's Development Initiative for Northeast. PM Divine. And this has been for implementing this scheme. Some of about 1,500 crores have been allocated, and it will fund infrastructure in consonance with the PM Gati Shakti. Again, a new scheme launched in 2021 October. Hira patamla. What is Hira? Highway, internet, railways, and airways. Infrastructure development, the Prime Minister calls this as Gati Shakti. Susan paragraph. And Gati Shakti scheme, PM Divine will be interconnecting. It will be in consonance. It will be implemented in consonance with PM Gati Shakti and other social development projects for northeastern states. And it will also focus on the livelihood activities for youth and women. அதுதான் என்ன கொடுத்திருக்காங்க 1,500 crores அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. So in the scheme வேற எதுவும் இல்ல, simple. What is PM Divine பாத்துக்கோங்க. And this is more likely to this is more likely to be asked in the mains as well. In a prelims there is nothing big to answer here. I mean, எதுக்காகன்னு கேட்டா அங்கே இருக்கு. PM Divine அதுல இருக்கு. It is meant for northeastern states. The Prime Minister's Development Initiative for Northeastern இருக்கு. So what else they can ask you? It encompasses all ministries. But implementation nodal agencies donor. Ministry of Donor, Development of Northeastern Region. So prelims la schemes related கேட்கலாம். Which are all the new schemes that were launched in, so this can come under budget 2022-23, or reserve it for your mains. Mains la, what are all the schemes that have been developed, that have been initiated for the development of northeastern states, which can be asked in prelims also. Right? New initiatives in budget 22-23. அப்படி ஒரு list கேட்கலாம். If at all they want to ask in the prelim, they can ask those lists. And to my knowledge of the last 20-25 years, very rarely they have asked these kind of questions. ரொம்ப ரேரா வந்து இந்த மாதிரி கேள்வி கேட்டிருக்காங்க. ஐ கேன் டெல் யூ ஒன் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். எப்போ இந்த மாதிரி கேள்வி நிறைய வந்ததுன்னா 2004 பட்ஜெட்டை கோட் பண்ணி கேட்டாங்க. இந்த பட்ஜெட் 2003-4 சாரி 4-5, இந்த பட்ஜெட் 2003-4, இந்த பட்ஜெட் 2002 அப்படி கோட் பண்ணி லைனா கேட்டாங்க. 2004. After that, I think it was in 2008 or 9. But 2004, the majority questions were like that. There were more number of questions. If you think of economic questions, of about 30 economic questions, so almost 18 to 20 questions were like this. That's the reason why I'm telling you. Economy questions are total current affairs from the budget, because in this budget there is host of schemes. Highlights of budget pathina theriyum. One of the schemes. So what for is it? A developmental initiative for PM's development initiative for northeastern region. அதுல வந்து நல்லா பாத்துக்கோ, it is also, it's a off the cuff போய் ஒரு deviant tangential போய் it is also talking about livelihood for youth and women. Because when you talk about the scheme says that the finance minister said that the scheme will be implemented as in consonance with as a detailed scheme of Prime Minister's Gati Shakti, which is more relating to infrastructure development. Gati Shakti is more for infrastructural development. Above, we will be diverted more to understand that this will also be for more relating to infrastructure development. But this is also focusing on social development. Social economic development of Northeast region, particularly it is focusing on the livelihood activities of youth and women. All right. So that is why. So let me sum it up. There is very less opportunity or very less chance of a question setter making a question from this. However, if he decides to make a economic question from the budget, this kind of schemes are more prominent. In the budget, in this budget 22-23, this scheme was initiated, and this scheme is meant for statements 1, 2, 3. That's where you may get confused. And this type of questions were rarely asked. In economy, most of the times they ask only the concepts, but rarely they go to tangentially, they go to this kind of questions. எல்லாருமே வந்து ஏன்னா யூபிஎஸ்சி வந்து ஒரு பீரியாடிக்கலி யூபிஎஸ்சி will recheck. யூபிஎஸ்சி வந்து ஒரு ஸ்லைட் அந்த கொஸ்டினிங் பேட்டர்ன்ல ஒரு டெஸ்ட் கொடுப்பாங்க. If you go through the previous year questions in full, you will be able to understand. Subject segregate பண்றீங்கல்ல, segregate பண்ணாம if you look into the full questions of UPSC அந்த twist பார்க்கலாம். ஏடா the twist வந்து பார்க்கலாம். அதே மாதிரி இப்போ what are they going to do in the next 2-3 years அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு பர்టిక్యులர் இயர்ல வந்து ஒரு க்ளூ கொடுப்பாங்க. क्वेश्चनல க்ளூ வைப்பாங்க. வச்சாருங்க. அதே மாதிரி what do I say, ethics பேப்பருக்கு வந்து செட் ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. ethicsல வந்து they have started the so no more ethics paper will be, there's rather no more சொல்ல மாட்டேன், there is more likelihood that the ethics paper may become little more complex. ஊரை போட்டு அடிக்கிறதுன்ற மாதிரி யூபிஎஸ்சி என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா அப்படியே ஃப்ரீ ஆடுவான். எல்லாரும் செட்டில் ஆவாங்க, எத்திக்ஸ் அது படிச்சுக்கலாம் பாஸ் அப்படின்னு வருவாங்கல்ல, அப்ப எப்ப ஆப்பு. So that's a style of UPSC. ஸ்டைல்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது, அது எப்படி சொல்றது, it's a pattern. That is why I'm telling you this. சரி, அப்போ PM's Gati Shakti, that also I'm going to share. I'll share the PPT to you today. Gati Shakti பார்த்துக்கோ. Tomorrow I shall discuss to you Gati Shakti also. சரியா? NCLAT and all I have already told you, right? National Legal Services Day, NCLAT. Have I told you or not? National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. Say note பண்ணிக்கோ. National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. அது வேற ஒன்றும் இல்லை. Chairperson was appointed. அவ்வளவுதான். But sir, okay. NCLAT, I'll tell you tomorrow. What is the detail? I'll tell you tomorrow. What are the possible questions? I'll tell you tomorrow. See, National Hydrogen Mission is also launched this year to mark the 75th anniversary of India's independence. I'll give you a few schemes, make note of them. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. The Sobhagya scheme. MP Lads. Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. Har Ghar Dastak Scheme. Then Poshan. Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana Sultana. So Bhagya, I have told you. So these schemes tomorrow we'll see. The schemes we'll see tomorrow. These schemes are very much in use. Last 1 year, continuously these schemes have been very much in use. Cryptocurrency and digital rupee. Again, budget la varudhu. Crypto introduce panna poranga. Budget has been decided. RBI will launch digital rupee. So what is cryptocurrency? What is digital rupee? We have to know. We will discuss tomorrow. Beta. What is the difference between Amiri Rani guided you? These aspects we shall discuss tomorrow. Apart from other things. So today's and yesterday's PPT, I'll share it. All right. Okay, tomorrow I'll be coming with more informations. More issues. All right. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir.